Education have had a long, hard history. Education is one of the key resources necessary in this country in order for anyone to succeed. Despite the necessity of it, African Americans were denied not only an education for hundreds of years, but also an unequal education. I've seen this inequality in our education system in my own high school, where I witnessed unintentional segregation between the races, unequal access to academic and financial resources, and prejudice. Historically, not only were African Americans denied access to Americans, Jim Crow laws were placed which legalized separate but equal facilities. However, these facilities were far from equal in the sense that they were not offered the same quality educators and resources. Additionally, when schools were finally integrated, African American students wishing to go to school were harassed and discriminated against. After the Brown v. Board of Education passed in favor of integrating schools, African American students had to be escorted into their schools by the National Guard. The schools are in the same building, with LASA in the upstairs portion and LBJ in the downstairs portion of the building. My entire freshman year of high school, I was completely unaware of one very obvious, very wrong thing: the segregation of our schools. My school is a very selective one that really only appeals to middle schools of a certain demographic. The population is predominantly white and Asian. I was one of maybe 20 Hispanic people, and there were at most 5 black people in my class, whereas LBJ was a predominantly black and Hispanic school. Our classes were completely separate, and most of the students attending did not once really interact with the other school unless they played sports. Though I attended a liberal arts school and grew up in a very liberal city, and I never experienced racism towards me, I know of someone who did. A girl on my team that attended LBJ told me about her first and only week attending LASA. There was a student in one of her classes that said some comments to her about how because she was not white, she was not as smart as he was. After my high school experience, one thing became clear. Everyone, no matter their race, is worthy of a great education, and the color of their skin should not get in the way of that. Since before our current education system was established, black students have always been seen as inferior, especially in regards to their education and intelligence. There have been the occasional outliers such as Langston Hughes and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who have exceeded the expectations of their teachers and peers and have achieved great things. It is not because they are smarter than other black people, they simply were expected to do more and had access and resources to do so. Additionally, most African American scholars have been forced to be more white in the way they carry themselves and dress. Furthermore, at my school, I know that LASA did not go into lower income schools to advertise the education that is available to them. Additionally, African American students do not have all the same resources to succeed that students at my school had. My school had teachers that were very invested in my success and education, whereas LBJ had a lot of teachers and administration that did not care. We also had better access to technology, and if we did not, technology was offered to us. My high school experience was one that I will never forget. I had never fully understood how others were treated until I went to high school. I know I can only grow from my experience and hope to someday change the way the education system works. I now know that the best way to ensure everyone is treated equally and gets an equal education is to ensure that everyone is aware of the issue. One of the most frustrating things for me when I was in high school was knowing that there were so many African American students working so hard to be the best they could be, but were not able to receive the same education that I was. Our education system has definitely improved as far as racial inclusivity goes, but there is still such a huge gap in the quality of education received by students of different races that it is hard to go unnoticed. The fact that my school was not only a liberal arts school, but also located in one of the most liberal cities in America just shows how the racial inequality is so ingrained in our education systems. I do not know that we are usually aware of this inequality, but it is important once we recognize it, we build from it and get better at identifying our weaknesses. Education is one area where we must be more progressive, because if we do not allow everyone the same resources for education, we cannot better our society.